course, if you had clicked on this video, you were looking for hair growth tips. So I was just saying in the beginning, for a disclaimer, I'm not going to just tell you some magical thing like, oh, you can just sprinkle this random voodoo thing that someone made up in their kitchen and their hair just grew a couple inches overnight. That's not real, so I'm gonna not give you something like that. I'll give you some tips and some things that you can do for yourself and some realistic expectations as to what might happen when it comes to hair growth. So, of course, like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get into it.
Ignorance is bliss. Someday you'll see me hoping that I put you on for your own notion. I'm not here for friends and such. I'm trying to find out where I'm going.
So I wrote down all of my tips on my phone, so if you see me looking down, that's why I have notes on my phone. So my first tip would be to give yourself some regular scalp massaging. So scalp massages can be good to help promote blood flow to the scalp, which in turn will help promote hair growth. And with those scalp massages, what you can do is use some sort of oil along with that. Now, I don't particularly think that there's a specific oil in general that you have to be working with, but there are some helpful oils that you can make sure that you do use sometimes. When I first started, I would use an oil that had either jojoba oil, Jamaican black castor oil in this product, or anything that's like the rosemary or mint type oils are good to apply to your scalp with that. So I don't think just adding the oil into your hair and just doing nothing is really going to help. But I typically use the oils in a way to sort of assist with the scalp massages, and that could be the way that you are working it in there. When I scalp massage, it would typically be like something like a pre-poo where you're prepping your hair for shampooing. So I would rub that into my scalp, and then I would also do that during the shampooing stage. Another thing that you can do for yourself in order to help promote your hair growth would be to deep condition. Now, I will always add deep conditioning onto lists like this. It helps for a lot of things, moisturizing, just length retention, everything. So you want to make sure that you're deep conditioning. I'm never going to do a video and have a list, and deep conditioning is probably not on the list. So I always like to add deep conditioning. Now, in the beginning, I never deep conditioned and my hair stayed at the same length for quite some time. As soon as I started deep conditioning, then I had to cut my hair more frequently when I wasn't trying to grow my hair out, because it just helped with hair growth in general. But in general, deep conditioning can help you when your hair is just freshly washed. Sometimes those shampoos can strip away the natural oils in your hair, leaving it feeling more brittle. So it can better moisturize your hair and leave it less likely to break off during things like styling or even detangling. So at the end of the day, you need to add a deep conditioner to your wash day. No matter what, there shouldn't be an excuse to not adding deep conditioning to your wash day routine. I'd say ideally you want to deep condition probably at least once a week. So another thing you could do, this one will help for more of length retention, would be to just overall be more gentle. So you can be more gentle in terms of getting a product that isn't super harsh on your hair. So you don't want to be using a product that's like a cleanser on your hair every single time you wash your hair. Cleansers can be good, or detoxes can be good, but you don't want to use that every single time, because those can strip away the moisture and natural oils in your hair that you do need. Another thing would be using or just being physically rough with your hair. So when you're detangling, you don't want to detangle your hair and be super rough with it. If you're hearing your hair snapping as you're just going through it, then you're being way too rough with your hair. Or if you're using a specific tool, like When I first started, I would be using a Denman brush. I had no business using a Denman brush when my hair wasn't even hanging. I just thought it was a weird flex that I could use a Denman brush now to define my hair or to detangle my hair. And that would be tearing my hair out like left and right. In general, Denman brushes just don't really work well for me. So I don't really use Denman brushes like that, but I do use a wide tooth comb. So if you are going to be using a tool, then make sure that it is a wide tooth comb or something where your hair can easily glide through it, and make sure that your hair isn't dry. Now you see people who would just pick their hair and it's just and just going through it and just snapping. That's mostly done on dry hair, and then you sit there and wonder why your hair isn't continuing to grow. It's because you're snapping your hair off when you're detangling it. So if you look into your pick and see that your hair is snapping off. Another way you can be more gentle is, of course, to not use as much heat on your hair. So if you're using heat like flat irons, stuff like that, that you're not being gentle with your hair. And that also goes for diffusing your hair. If you're using too hot of a setting, you're just drying out your hair, and then of course making it easier or more prone for breakage if your hair is super dry. Just be gentle with your hair. So another thing that you can do is wear some sort of protective wear when you go to bed. The best thing to do would probably be use a bonnet. If you don't know what that is, it's sort of like a do-rag except for way bigger. So you'll just wear a bonnet. If you don't want to wear a bonnet, you can use a satin or silk pillow casing. You just want to make sure overall you're staying away from either cotton or whatever other material, because it's easier for your hair to get in between the fibers, and then if you're someone like me who's a side sleeper and then you roll over, then your hair will snag onto that, snap off, and then you just lost some length. Even no matter how little bit of the length that you have, you're still losing length because you're just snapping off your hair as you go into a different position while you're sleeping. Also, the cotton will be drying out your hair, so making it once again easier and more prone for breakage. Another thing that can help you out with growing out your hair or length retention would to just be consistent with all of the steps that you are doing in order to retain length. So that means, are you constantly giving yourself deep conditioning? Are you being gentle with your hair weekly when you're detangling or styling your hair? Are you reducing the amount of heat? Are you giving yourself scalp massages? Are you using products that are less harsh? You have to do that weekly in order for those results to actually occur. So I like to think about it as if someone's trying to lose weight. If you're gonna go to the gym, or if you're trying to build muscle. So if you want to build muscle or lose weight, you can't just go to the gym one time, like for a week, and then be like, I did it, and then suddenly you're just dropping pounds, or you're just gaining so much muscle. That's not how it works. So it'll sort of be the same concept. You want to put a foundation down for your hair to at least start to grow or do those things that you are wanting it to do, whether it is growth, whether it is be more moisturized. You need to have some foundation for your hair to work with in order for it to do the things that you are wanting your hair to do. Okay, so here's some tips that you may not want to hear when it comes to growing out your hair or wanting to retain length. Number one is to be patient. So it's not gonna happen overnight. Like I said at the beginning, there's no such thing as some magical potion that's going to grow your hair overnight. If you are being told that here's my step that gave me an inch of hair overnight, I'm pretty sure that person's either clickbaiting you or they're just lying. Like, you're not going to get a inch or two of hair overnight. If that was possible, then I'd be telling you that. Like, I wouldn't have all these other steps or things that you could be doing. I would just say, do this random voodoo step that this random woman posted over here, and your hair is gonna grow like 5 inches overnight. I would tell you that, but that's not a thing. So if someone's telling you that they grew their hair 2 inches overnight, they lied to you. And you just have to be patient. Another thing to think about is genetics. There are people who grow their hair way faster than others, and that's fine. That's just genetics. Like, I could say, ooh, if you do this, or you're growing out your undercut, you had shaved sides, this is only gonna take you 2 months for your hair to catch up. It may take 2 months for someone else's hair type, but then for you it might take you 6 months, it might take you a year. So hair growth for different people, it grows at different rates, so don't expect that to just grow at the same rate that someone else's hair is growing. And then the last thing you may not want to hear is to just eat properly. Be eating the foods that you need to be eating. If you eat better, you have a better chance of your hair growing, since you're getting the nutrients that you need for hair growth, for just that you need in general as a person. So I know I have zero room to talk because I delete bags of candy in a heartbeat. Like, if you look at the food pyramid, mine is upside down. Candy is at the top. So it is a bit hypocritical for me to say that, but if you are eating what you need to be eating, your hair has a better chance of getting the nutrients it needs in order to grow. If you're not eating the foods that you need to be eating, if you're not drinking the liquids or fluids that you need to be drinking, then you're not feeding your body the nutrients you need for proper growth. So yeah, those are all of my tips that I have for hair growth. If you did find those helpful, then please like, comment, and subscribe. And of course, thanks for watching.
Things put me in control, like I'll just run